पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। So we have reached the 8th verse. So it was told the description of the Atman, the self, is continuing to one more verse. That is, it started with Anejadekam Manasojaviyo, then it continued in Tadejati Tannejadi Taddure Tadvantike Tadantarasya Sarvasya Tadu Sarvasyasya Vakyataha. Then again it was told, Yastu Sarvani Bhutani Atmani Eva Anupashyati Sarva Bhuteshu Cha Atmana Tato Lavijagupsate. And the final verse that was discussed was, Yasmin Sarvani Bhutani Atma Eva Abhut Vijanataha Tatra Ko Mohaha Kashokaha Egatvam Anupashyataha. Now the 8th verse is starting. Sapariyagad Shukram Akayamabranam Asnavidam Shuddham Apapavidham Kavir Manishi Paribhu Swayambhur Yatha Tathyadorthan Vyadhathat Shashwati Bhyas Samabhyaha. So the Atman is Sapariyagat. Pari-agat. Agat is a dhatu called, verbal root form is in gatau. It is called in e. It has got the form of e only, and it becomes ga will come in that what is called that past. In the past tense, it becomes in the past continuous. It becomes agat. He has gone everywhere. Meaning is he who has gone everywhere. Or what we say is present continuous also comes. Or he had gone everywhere. That also is. So, pari means everywhere. And agat means gone. Sa means he. He who has gone everywhere means he who is all pervading. Savari agat. Shukram. Shukram means white actually, but it means actually Shubhram, radiant, shining. This is Shukram. Then Akayam. Akayam means without a Sukshma Sharira. Without a Sukshma Sharira is Linga Sharira. Linga Sharira is that which holds all the impressions. All the impressions of work, actions. It is that which survives the death of the physical body and goes to another body. So, Akayam means he has that body has been completely removed. He is no more subject to birth or death. And that means the destruction of the Linga Sharira. Only the Prarabdha karmas are working in him. The karmas that normally is responsible for the rebirth of a man. All those karmas have been neutralized in him. So that is why it is told he is Akayam. He doesn't have a Linga Sharira. Akayam. Then Avranam. Avranam Asnaviram. Two words are can be taken together. Avranam means without any wound or injury. Vrana is wound. And Avranam is without a wound or injury. And Asnaviram. Asnaviram means Snavi means Snavaha. Snavaha means veins. Or this tubular, whatever things are there, like tube-like things in the body. It may be veins, it may be nerves, or it may be muscular, things like that. whatever is there in the body, they are called snavi. Shira, it is also called Shira. In the Bhashya it will be told. Mainly we can say veins. Without veins and without wounds. Means even the physical body only it seems to have, but he has no connection with that physical body even. He has no connection with the Linga Sharira, he has with the subtle body, or he has no connection with the physical body even. So, Akayam, Avranam, Asnaviram, no connection with the physical body. Shuddham. Shuddham means there is no Karana Sharira. These are the three Shariras that Vedanta talks about. One is Stula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram and Karana Shariram. Stula Shariram is the physical body, the gross body, and the Sukshma Shariram is the subtle body which has three factors in it. The externalmost factor is the vital forces, called the vital forces, which is called the Vijnanamaya Koshaha, Manomaya Koshaha, Pranamaya Koshaha. This is the three layers are there in the subtle body. The outermost layer is the Pranamaya Koshaha, the sheet of constituting of vital forces. Innermost to that is animating this Pranamaya Kosha. This sheet made of vital forces is what is called the Manomaya Kosha, the mental sheet, which thinks, doubts, decides on, tries to decide on an option, what to do and what not to do. It is called Sankalpa Vikalpa, thinking on the pros and cons of something, thinking of the alternate options available to him, etc. All this is the function of the mental sheet. And more internal to that and animating the mental sheet even is what is called the intellectual Vijnanamaya Kosha, the sheet of the intellect. And that is also what is called the Ahambodha, is that feeling I exist. That is a function of the Vijnanamaya Kosha. Deciding, I know. Knowledge also is a function. I know. I want to know this thing. I am knowing this object here. That is a function of the intellectual sheet. So these are the three sheets of the subtle body, which is the Pranamaya Kosha, the sheet constituting of vital forces, which is responsible for all actions, and innermost to that is the mental sheet, the Manomaya Kosha, which is responsible for all thoughts and which precedes all actions. And more internal to that is the knowledge sheet or the intellectual sheet, the Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is either of egoism or decision making. So this is the subtle body, and that also he has severed or cut connection even with that. That is so he doesn't have he is not connected anymore with the gross body, he has no connection with the subtle body, and then finally Akayam, Avranam, Asnaviram, Shuddham. He is pure, means he has got no more Karana Sharira. What is the Karana Sharira? Karana Sharira is that which we experience in the deep sleep. There is only unified consciousness. This is what is told there. It is bliss, made of bliss, unified consciousness. Consciousness has not been consciousness, that is unformed consciousness, we can say. And bliss also is there. But again, avidya also is there. That is, it is avidya plus consciousness. And that is the state of the Karana Sharira. So this is the first sheet, the sheet of avidya plus consciousness, then the Sukshma Sharira, then the Stula Sharira. So according to Vedanta, there are three sheets in man. That is, one is the Stula Sharira, innermost to that is the Sukshma Sharira, and finally the even the cause of that is the Karana Sharira. It is going on? Huh? So, innermost to that is the Karana Sharira. Causal body. The gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body, which is avidya. And all these three things are no more there in him. He has severed his connection from all this because he is the Atman which is different from all these and at the same time animates all these three. So, Paryagat Shukram Akayam Abranam Asnaviram Shuddham Apapavidham. So the next one word is, next adjective is Apapavidham, not touched by sin. Sin means it includes both virtue and vice. That is Dharma Dharmadi Rupa Papa Papena Avidham. That is, he is not pierced by sin, means neither by dharma he is affected nor adharma. The krita kritena tapataha, that what is if when you do, I should do this, if I don't do this, then sin will come to me. So, this kind of things are not there in him. He has gone beyond both dharma and adharma. But this has to be understood properly, which is that through the power of dharma only he reaches that crossover stage. Once he crosses over, then he is beyond dharma and adharma. So that is the idea. It is not that an adharmika person can reach this. He has to be very dharmika in order to be ready for this knowledge. But once this knowledge comes, then neither has any effect on him, neither can touch him. Apapavidham. Next is Kavihi. Kavihi means Krantadarshi. He who knows the past, present and future is Krantadarshi. He sees everything. Time holds no secrets for him. Then Manishi, Manasaha Ishida. The controller of the mind or the controller of the mind. He who controls the mind. For instance, Sri Krishna is that in the Gita you see him as the charioteer of Arjuna. He is holding the reins of the horse. The horses represent the senses and the reins represent the mind. And Sri Krishna, this is an interpretation, is the illumined intellect. So, like that Manishi, Manasaha Ishida, he who controls the mind, who has got absolute control over the mind. Paribhuhu. Paribhuhu is he who has transcended everything. He is he who is transcendent. That is Paribhuhu. He has transcended everything, is Paribhuhu. Then it is Swayambhuhu. Swayambhuhu is that he who has transcended everything and that which is transcended, he himself has become. This is Swayambhuhu. He himself has become the cause as well as the effect. So the reality is the same reality that which is immanent itself has become transcendent. Like Thakur says, Sakar, Akar, Nirakar. He is Sakar with form. He is the form. And he is also the transcendent reality without form. So that is Swayambhu. Now in the last part of the verses, Yadha Tathyadaha Arthan Vyadhadhat Shashvatibhyas Samabhyaha. He allots or gives Vyadhadhat. What? Arthan. Arthan means Kartavya Padarthan. He gives duties. He allots duties to the different powers in nature, gods, or even to man. We can think of that like that also. He allots different duties to man or the different gods. How does he allot? Yadha Tatyadaha. Yadha Tatyadaha Yatha Tadha Bhavaha. Yatha Tadha means as his Now, how the gods have come into being, they were human beings like us. This is the belief in the Vedas. They were a little more particular in doing their works, very correct or in a perfect manner, let us say. They used to do all the works. In a more unselfish manner, they used to do all the works. Then, as per their works, yatha karma, so results were, phala was allotted to them. And according to that phala, they were given different big responsibilities. Agni is given the responsibility of burning. Aditya is given the responsibility of shining. So, yatha tatyadaha, as is their effort, so the results have been allotted. Arthan vyadadat. So the results means, so the duties have been allotted. Shashvatibhya samabhyaha. Shashvatibhya is translated as samvatsarakyaha prajapatibhyaha. For the rulers of this, or who controls the forces that controls this universe. For them, that is it is called samvatsara, the yearly forces. That is how it is told. Has been allotted. So to sum up, he is all-pervading, saparyagat. He is shukram. He is shining. He is akayam, without a subtle body. He is avranam asnaviram, without wounds or without tube, without veins. That is, he is without a physical body. He is shuddham. He is pure, without a karna sharira. He is apapa vidham. He is not touched by dharma or adharma. He is kavihi. He is krantadarshi. He sees all. Time holds no secrets for him. He is manishi. He is the controller of the mind. He is paribhuhu. He transcends everything. Swayambhuhu. He himself has become everything that is transcended. He is yatha tatyadaha arthan yadadhat. As his efforts were, as the efforts of the gods were in previous births, so he has this Atman, or this has allotted different duties to the different powers of nature, called Samvatsara Prajapatis. Now, this is, we will read the commentary. Yo ayam aditaihi mandraihi uktaha atma sasvena rupena vilakshana ityaha ayam mantraha. That which was told in the previous mantra, that mantra in its own nature is totally different. This is being explained. Sapariyagat. Pariyagat sa yadokta atma. Pariyagat, pari samandat agat gatavan. Pari agat samandat, all directions he has gone. Agashavat vyapi ityartaha, that he is all pervading like the sky. This is the meaning. Or like ether or whatever, like space, whatever we find appropriate, we can say. Shukram, the next word, Shukram Jyotishmat Deeptiman Ityartaha. He who shines, who is radiant, he who is shining. That is another characteristic of the Atman. Akayam Ashariro Linga Sharira Varjita Ityartaha. He is without a subtle body, without a Linga Sharira, which is, the three things are there. Pranamaya Kosha, innermost to that Manomaya Kosha, innermost to that Vijnanamaya Kosha. The mental sheath or the subtle sheath. Akayam ashariro linga sharira varjita ityartaha. It is also called linga sharira. Linga means sign. Sign is that by which we infer. So, it is something that we have to infer. We cannot directly grasp it. So, it is called linga sharira. From signs, we have to understand it is there. For instance, there are so many signs like what is the proof that the mind is there? The proof is that one proof is told, the Upanishads, it's a commonsensical proof. Like, I am seeing that clock is striking. It is striking sufficiently loudly that when it has become, say, 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, and it's just chiming loudly. But because I am not hearing that sound. Why? Because my mind was not focused on it. Everything else is there. My sense organs are there. Then the sound is striking my ears, the sense organs are there, and the self, the ego also is there. But something is not there that is connecting all these things. From this you infer that you say, oh, my mind was not there, I did not hear it. My mind was somewhere else. So this is one proof that is adduced to say that a proof that mind exists as a separate entity. Again, a dead body, that is the difference. It is the physical body is there. But what? The mental sheath is not there. It has gone away. It is that which goes to, that which departs, that survives the death of the body. This is the belief. So, this is what is called proof of the mind. That is why it is called Linga Sharira. You have to infer it from, you cannot directly grasp it. Linga Sharira Varjita Ityartaha. Avranam Akshatam, without any wounds. Asnaviram Snavaha Shira Yasminna Vidyande iti Asnaviram. Snavaha. Snavaha means you can say it is Shiraha, veins, tubes and veins and nerves, all these things are included. Nadi, all these ideas are there. Snava Shira Yasminna Vidyante iti Asnaviram. That which has got nothing, no muscles, no veins, no blood, nothing. It is, the identification is not with any of these things. It is with the Atma. Avranam Asnaviram iti by these Stula Sharira Pradishedaha. That is the word Avranam Asnaviram Ityabhyam Stula Sharira Pradishedaha. That is that he is without wounds and he is without veins or anything. By this, the gross body has been rejected or has been discarded, has been discriminated away. Shuddham, Nirmalam, Avidya Malarahitamidi, Karana Sharira Pradishedaha. Shuddham means Nirmalam, pure. Avidya Malarahitam, without the impurity in the form of avidya. Karana Sharira Pradishedaha. The causal body has been negated or done away with. Apapavidham. Dharma Dharmadi Papa Varjitam. He is without Papa, sin, in the form of both Dharma and Adharma. That is Vedanta, according to Vedanta, because Dharma is equally binding as binding as Adharma. Swamiji's that poem is the Song of the Sannyasi. He says that, strike off thy fetters, bonds that bind thee down, of shining gold or darker baser ore, love, hate, good, bad, and all the dual throng. No slave is slave, caressed or whipped, not free. So slave is slave, whether he is caressed or he is whipped, he is equally a slave. So dharma is also a caressed slave. And adharma is you get whips. That's the only difference. But both are bound. So that is why it is called apapa vidham dharma dharmadi papa varjidam shukram ityadini vajamsi pullingatvena parineyani saparyagat ityubhakramya kavihi manishi ityadina pullingatvena upasamharat. That is, saparyagat is actually the male gender is used. Because in Sanskrit there are three genders, male, female and neuter. Neuter gender is there. So paryagat is a male gender. And shukram, akayam, avranam is again suddenly it shifts to neuter gender. So he is telling that it is the same thing is indicated. You can change it to the male gender also. It doesn't make any difference. So that is what is told here. Paryagat and also kavihi manishi tends with that. That also is in the male gender. In between the neuter gender is used. But there is no difference in meaning. It indicates the same entity, whether male, female or neuter. It is one non-dual entity. That is meant here. Kavi manishi ityadina pullingatvena upasamhara. Kavihi krantadarshi sarvadrik. Kavihi means krantadarshi, who sees everything that has gone away. Sarvadrik, who sees everything, who is omniscient. Na anyo atosti drashta ityadi shrutehe. There are shrutis which say other scriptures, Upanishads are there. There is no other seer apart from him. So, that is quoted here as to validate this word, Kavihi, Krantadarshi, Manishi, Manasa Ishita, Sarvatnya Ishvara Ityartaha. Manishi, Manasa Ishita, the controller of the mind. Or you can say, he who controls the mind is called Manishi. Sarvatnya Ishvara Ityartaha, the all-knowing Lord. That is, he is the main, he is the only person who has total control. That all minds are connected to him. That way. Sarvatnya Ishvara Ityartaha Paribhuhu. Sarvesham Pari Upari Bhavati Iti Paribhuhu. He is Sarvesham Pari Upari Bhavati. He who is above all things. He who is transcendent to all things. This is Paribhuhu. Swayambhuhu. Swayameva Bhavati. He who has become the all. That is Swayambhu. He who himself has become the all. That is Swayambhuhu. He who has transcended everything is Paribhuhu. And Swayambhuhu is he who himself has become the all. Swayambhuhu. Now that is being explained a little more. Yesham upari bhavati. Yashcha upari bhavati. Sasarvaha swayameva bhavati iti swayambhuhu. Yesham upari bhavati. He who has transcended everything. Yashcha upari bhavati. Now, Yesham upari bhavati. That which is transcended. That which is transcended and he who transcends. That which is transcended. Yesham upari bhavati. All those things which are transcended. Yashcha upari bhavati. And he who has transcended all these things. Sasarvaha. He is the all. Swayameva bhavati. He himself has become all these things that he has transcended. So, simple word, in a sentence it will be, he himself has become everything that he has transcended. Sa Nitya Mukta Ishvaro. Sa Nitya Mukta Ishvaro. He is also called. You see here in this Upanishad's speciality is, it uses Ishvara with Atma. It interchanges these terms. That which is Paramatma is Ishvara. So Ishvara is used for Atma and Atman is used for Ishvara. So Nitya Mukta Ishvaro Yathat Atyadaha Sarvajñatvat Yathat Atyadaha. Now that is being explained. Sarvajñatvat Yatha Tatha Bhavo Yathat Atyam. He knows Yatha Tatha Sarva, because he is all knowing. He knows the Yatha Tatha Bhavaha. He is aware of the karmas of all creatures, what work they have done. He may be doing it without anybody knowing. A man is doing good works. Nobody knows it, but God knows. He knows. Yatha, what is that effort he has put in, how he is doing it, and what results is to be given for it. That also the Lord knows. That is implied here. Because he is all-knowing, he knows the Yatha Tatha Bhavaha. What effort he is putting in and what results are to be given to him, both he knows. Sarvajñatvat Yatha Tatha Bhavaha Yatha Tatyam Tasmat Yatha Bhutam Yathabhuta Karmaphala Sadhanataha. According to his sadhana, according to the effort he is put and what result he is to get for it, whatever karmaphala he has to get for it. Arthan Vyadhathat. Arthan is meaning is Kartavya Padarthan. What responsibility he is to be given. Just like in an office, the superior officer is watching the performance of all who are working under him and awards them accordingly. Oh, you can take a big responsibility, so you take up this work. So like that, our works, whatever is our works we have done, spiritual, whatever good works we have done or spiritual thoughts we have thought, as per that it is all recorded and further works are allotted to him. That is what is told here. Yatha tatyadaha artha yadhabhuta karmapala kartavya padarthan vyadathat vihitavat yathanurubham vyabhajat ityarthaha. As is to be awarded, he has given. Shashvatibhyo nityabhya samabhyaha samvatsarakhyebhyaha prajapadibhyaha ityartha. It has been awarded to Prajapatis called Samvatsarakyaha. That is Samvatsarakya Prajapati. Prajapatis, Samvatsara means year actually. And a year, the calculation, Y-E-A-R, year. The calculation according to the Vedas is 360 ahoratras constitutes 1 year. This is not 365 days as in the English calendar. 366 ahoratras are samvatsara. And this is considered as a particular deity called Prajapati. And when the Agnihotra Yaga is done, that fire is considered as representative of this Samvatsarakya Prajapati. And every day that whoever that person has to put offerings in the morning and evening. Milk offerings are there. Both of these are representative of one ahoratra. One ahoratra offering. Like that, 360 offerings are to be done. So all these considerations are here. So it is he, the Atman or Ishvara, who has decided that he is what has decided that the Samvatsarakya Prajapati, their duties as their works and as their knowledge was in previous births. So this is the end of the 9th verse. This is the end of the 8th verse. Now, the 9th verse is beginning. Now, according to Shankara, the Upanishad proper is ending here. Strictly speaking, the subject matter of the Upanishads is ending here. Because if we consider the subject matter of the Upanishads to be the removal of erroneous knowledge or presenting the truth, correct knowledge. So, this is the end of that. The Atma Swarupa Nirupana is over. Now, a different topic is being begun. And that topic is what Shankara calls the combination of karma and upasana. Now, as it was discussed in the beginning, that there are rites, physical rites are there, and then again meditations are there. And this meditation also, it has got nothing to do with correct knowledge or the knowledge of the Atman. But it has got a great role to play in the purification of the mind. Because Vedas are, most of the portions in the Vedas does not deal with the Upanishadic truths. It deals with rites and rituals, and that is there because the mental condition of man is varied. Some, it is not pure, there are impurities in it, and it has to be purified step by step. So he is given rites to do, and then he is given meditations to perform. And these rites and meditations can be performed by one man at the same time. The same sadhaka can perform rites as well as meditation. And through this, his mind becomes purified, and then he becomes fit for practicing the understanding, the truths of the Upanishads. And that is why this is made clear, because the next 10 verses deals with, according to Shankara, the combination of rites with meditation, which plays a big role in purifying the mind of the sadhaka. So now I will, that verse goes like this. Andham tamaha pravishanti ye avidyam upasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yapu vidyayam rataha. Andham tamaha pravishanti ye avidyam upasate. Ye avidyam upasate. He who worships avidya. So this is why it is made clear here. In the Bhashya, he makes it, a detailed description is there. Normally in Vedanta terminology, avidya is understood to mean ignorance. But that is not what is meant here. What is meant here is vidya, that which is different from vidya, upasana. That is karma. So karma is meant here. So, andham tama pravishanti ye karminaha ye avidya upasade. Who is engaged in avidya. Who is engaged doing actions only, rites only, rituals only, without any spiritual thought. He is not paying any attention to the symbolism behind these rites. He just does the physical actions, just as one person is doing puja. He just mechanically goes on doing the puja, but he does not think of the spiritual content of the puja, of the mantras. That is what is told here. Andham tama pravishanti ye avidyam upasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yau vidyayam rataha. Even more, tato bhuya evate tamaha pravishanti. Even greater darkness. So, he who does karma without proper thought, without bringing any spiritual thought behind it, he enters into darkness. This is the meaning of the first half. The second half meaning is tato bhuya ivate tamaha pravishanti. That word pravishanti is to be understood, implied. He enters into even deeper darkness or greater darkness. Who? Yapu vidyayam rataha. He says, I will not do any works, I will do only meditation. Because then what happens? What is the danger? You see, karma has to be done. The rites both has to be done. You have to practice the rites as well as the meditation. Because what it does is, the role it plays is what is called the swabhavika karma and jnana. That is attenuated, that is neutralized by these things. If there are bad tendencies within us, that is pulling us down, crude, that's tendencies of the brute or animal tendencies within us. Everybody has that. But that has to be overpowered. So how to do that? By doing these rites and rituals. Slowly those tendencies to perform bad actions will be attenuated. So that is, both has to be performed together. The rites has to be performed and the upasana also has to be performed. If a person says he will do only rites, that also is not correct. If another person says he will do only upasana, he will not perform any rites, that also is not correct. So what is the conclusion? Both has to be combined. This is the meaning that is coming out. Now we will read the Bhashya. Atra adyena mantrena sarveshana parityagena jnana nishtha ukta pradamo vedartha. So he is summarizing the whole thing, the whole scheme of the Ishavasya Upanishad. Through the first mantra, sarveshana parityagha, giving up of all desires. What are the three desires? The Eshana for Putreshana, Vitteshana, Lokeshana. That desire for a child, Vitteshana, desire for wealth, desire for the worlds. Jnana nishtha utta pradamo vedartha. The jnana nishtha has been told of sticking to knowledge of the truth. Isha vasyam idam sarvam agrigat kasya siddhanamiti. Ajnanam jijivishunam jnana nishtha asambhave kurvanneveha karmani jijivishedidi karma nishtha utta vidiyo vedartha. So the second mantra it is told that he should, if he cannot do this, then he should perform works. He should desire to live in this world for 100 years by performing works in a righteous manner, surrendering to God. This has been told in the second verse. These are the two alternatives open to him. Anayoscha nishthayoho vibhago mandra pradarshitayoho brihadaranyake api pradarshitaha. So akamayata jaya mesyad ityadina ajñasya kaminaha karmani iti mana evasya atma vagjaya ityadi vajanat ajñatvam kamitvam cha karma nishtasya nishchitam avagamyate. So, this is what is told here, that there is a difference between these two. Now, here also there is one particular portion of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is quoted. Actually, that because there also this division of Vidya and Avidya is there. So, it is, we can go over it in a general manner. In a summarily, we may go over that particular portion. The portion goes like this, that the person, why does one perform karma? Avidya is there, that is already told. Now avidya, because of avidya, now he becomes engaged in Vedic karmas and does not resort to the knowledge of the self or the Upanishadic portion, because there is kama in him, desire in him. And what is the nature of this desire? This is told in that Brihadaranyaka Upanishad which is quoted here. So it is told that the person who becomes the Prajapati, or he who has done lot of good works and become attain the highest world, but it is totally different from that is what is called the Atmajnana. He has attained what is called the Brahmaloka. Now that is what he was. So the description is like this: he was alone, and he was fearful, and then he wanted a company. Then he decided I should have a wife because he was alone. Jaya Vesyat. Why? So that I can be born as a son. So that I can be born in the form of a son. I need a wife. This is the description. Then he desires, I need wealth so that I can perform all these karmas and gain heavens. Then he says that even today, everyone, that same tendencies is there that the first person in the universe had, that even today man has got. Whenever he feels lonely, he feels that I need a wife so that I can be born as a son. And I need wealth so that I can perform works, different karmas, different rites and rituals. So these are the things. So there are 5 things that the desire for a wife, which is the same as the desire for a son, the desire for wealth, and through the desire for wealth you are performing karmas, rites and rituals, the desire for the worlds. So all these 3 desires are there. Desire for wife is the desire for a son. And again, why is there the desire for the son? To get the Pitru Tarpana has to be done by the son so that you can go to the world of names. These are all the ideas that are connected ideas that are involved in karmas. All this is told connected with the word avidya, which means karmas, rites and rituals. So that through the wife, son, the world of the means, and through wealth, etc., he performs rites and rituals and he gains heavenly vitta. That is, wealth has got 2 divisions, manusham vittam and daivam vittam. Spiritual wealth and human wealth. Through human wealth, he can perform all these rites and rituals. A poor man cannot perform all these things. So, he performs rites and rituals with the help of wealth. And then again, through these rituals, he gains something, some intangible something, dharma is gained, with the help of which he goes to heaven. This is called spiritual wealth. So, all these things are involved in karma. Now, the Vedas give all. This is not necessary. He gives an equivalent meditation of the same concept. He equates with a kind of meditation. He says, he need not, and he says one more thing, he says, if he does not get any of these things, he feels unfulfilled. That is, if he doesn't get a wife, or he doesn't get a son, or he doesn't get wealth, he feels unfulfilled. Then he says, then the Upanishad comes to the meditation of the same thing. Or there is another way. And what is that way? He says, Mana Atma Vak Jaya Prana Praja. That is, or you can, there is an equal meditation, you need not require all this wife, son, etc. You think of the mind as the Atman. The mind is the Atman, not the Sharira. In the case of the other person, he is too much identified with the body. But this person has got a little more understanding, he is capable of doing the symbolic meditation behind these external symbols. The spiritual content he is able to see, he is able to understand. So the way he imagines it is like this, that the mind is the Atman, Mana Atma. And who is the wife? Vak is the Vak. Vak is the wife. What does Vak mean? Vak means words. And words means the Shabda Rashis, the sentences in the Vedas that are of the nature of injunctions and prohibitions. Vidhi Nishedhatmaka sentences are called Vak. So, mind is the Atman. These sentences that contains Vidhi and Nisheda, consider that as the wife. You don't require an external wife. Then, Prana Praja. You hear it, and Prana Praja. Prana is the sun. The vital forces are the sun. S-O-N, suns. Then he says, I is the Manusham Vittam, the human wealth. The ear is the Daivam Vittam, the divine wealth. How? With the help of the Vak, the Vidhi Nishedatmaka, Shabda Rashis in the Vedas, you hear through your ear and comprehend and grasp with your mind the message of what the Vedas are trying to convey. And then you see that, that with the eye you see all the wealth, whatever wealth is there. To utilize it, you see the eye. So if the eye is enough, you don't have to consider the wealth as such. Through that discriminating power, you understand everything. The symbolism of everything. Wealth, what is wealth, etc. You understand. Understanding is enough. So, through the eye, you understand that eye is equivalent to the human wealth. And the ear is equivalent to the divine wealth. All have got equivalence in the karma, whatever that 5 things are again equivalently is equated here at the meditation level. That's a one-to-one convergence here. And the ear is the divine wealth. Why? Because you hear the Vidhi Nishedatmaka, that injunctions and prohibitions of the Vedas to the ear, and you understand it and assimilate it. And what is karma? The Sharira itself is the karma. The body itself is the karma. So this is the meditation. So one, we can think of it this way also. One is avidya, that I need a wife, I need this. This is also required. For some people it is not bad. The Vedas are not denying them anything. They have to do that. But those who are more matured, they can think of it in this way. The symbolism behind it, that the mind is the Atman, the Vak is the Vidhi Nishedatmaka Shabdarashi is the Jaya, is the wife, the Prana is the Praja. That vital forces, you hear it, you understand it, and it is assimilated into your body, into your vital forces, and it has become a part of your body, of your energy system, whatever you have heard. Then you do it, then the ears, that which helps you in assimilating this, is the wife helps you in assimilating this. And then out of this conviction is born the strength of conviction of the pranas, or the energy system becomes sharp and resolved. That is one thing. And then the I is the human wealth. So this is the equivalence that we see of vidya and avidya. Mana evasyatma avakjaya ityadi vajanat ajñatvam kamitvam cha karma nishtasya nishchidam avagamyate. Tayacha tat phalam saptarna sargaha teshu atmatpena atmaswarupa avasthanam. And then what happens through this kind of meditation and practice? It is told that this was also a part of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. He gets 7 foods. He becomes identified with 7 foods. Saptanna Sargaha. That is, he who performs Vedic sacrifices. There are 7 foods are there. The first food is the human food. The human food is something that he has to share with everybody. If he eats it, depriving it of others, it is a sin. This is the first thing. The second and third food is what is called the food for the gods. Which is, there are some certain sacrifices called, where food has to be offered to the gods. That is called Darsha and Purnamasa. This is called food for the gods. 3. So one, human food, which is to be shared with others, and the offering to the gods, which is 2 in number. 3. The fourth food is what is called offered in the Agnihotra, which is milk, or it may be clarified butter. I am not very sure about it, but that is one food, which is food for the animals. Which animals? Because animals normally, mammals especially, when they are born, they take milk. They suckle the mother's milk. So it is called animal food, it is called. Then there are result of this, or result of offering all these foods is he gains a evolved mind as his work has been, as his meditation has been, as his offering of foods has been. So he gains three things: the mind, the prana, and the vak. His energy system, his power of expression, and his prana, vak, and mind, and his mind. All these are the results of this offerings he has made, offerings of food he has made. And these things are his own. It is not for others. The other four foods are meant for the gods or for the human beings or for animals or anything. But what he gets out of these offerings, the mind, that is his own. So, these are called the seven foods. And all these, what is involved? All these is involved identification with the mind, with the prana, with the vak. All these are involved, identification. So, that is not, so these are, and identification becomes possible only if ignorance is there, desire is there, identification is there. Jaya iti eshanatraya sanyasena cha atmavida karma nishta pradikulyena atmaswarupa nishta eva darshitaha. Karma nishta pradikulyena atmaswarupa nishta eva darshita. That is all these are there. This is the first thing. Karma is there. When you told you want a wife and a child, this is karma. The meditation behind this is upasana. And different from this is what is told in the Upanishads of giving up all these things, all identifications with all this attachment to rites and rituals. Give it up. Devote yourself entirely to knowledge of truth. This is the third option. And that is explained. Chatmavidam karma nishta pradikulina atmaswarupa nishta eva darshita. And that is told in the first verse that atmaswarupa nishta. That is to stick to the path of knowing the Atman. Kim, and this is described in a verse in the same Upanishad. Kim prajaya karishyamo yesham noyam atmayam lokaha. What will I do with children when I know that this Atman is the only world that is there? I do not want any other lokas. The Atma, the loka that is the Atman only I want. Other lokas are all false. That one. Yetus jnana nishtaha sanyasinaha tebhyo asurya namate ityadina vidvad ninda dvarena atmano yadhatmyam cha paryagat ityadi andena mandrehi upadishtam. To the people who are sticking to the path of knowledge, all this verses like that is anejadekam until from the fourth onwards to the 8th verse is told. That is meant for the sannyasis. We should understand. This is from the idealistic point of view. It is meant for everybody. Everybody should, that is what Swamiji says. We should remember what Swamiji said, that everybody requires the highest ideal. So we should always, so it is meant, it may be, we may not be able to put it into practice, but that is no excuse for not being aware of it. So this also should be kept in mind. Tehi atra adhikrita na jnanina iti. They are, tehi atra adhikrita na kamina iti. These things, these can only be fully practiced as by those who have got this, who are free from desires, the pull of the world. Not for those who have got desires in them. They have to take the other two routes, the route of karma as well as upasana. Tadacha Shvetashvataranam Andropanishati Atyashramibhya Paramam Pavitram Provaja Samyak Rishi Sangajushtam Ityadi Vibhajya Uttam. This is told in the, what is called, one Upanishad is the Shvedashvatara Upanishad. That is, those who have transcended all the ashramas, like the Grihastha, Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. For them, these Upanishadic truths have to be taught. Ye tu karminaha karmanishtaha karma kurvanneva jijivishavaha tebhyaha idam uchyade andham tama. So this is the karma nishta, those who are sticking to the path of karma. For them, this particular verse is the andham tama pravishanti. Kadam punareva pavagamyate natu sarveshamidi uchyate. Akaminaha sadhya sadhana ubabhedo upamardena yasmin sarvani. So that is what is told. How do we know that this is not meant for jnanis? So this is the main point made here. This is not the message that is conveyed by this mantra is different from that which is conveyed in the previous mantras. Here they are talking of combining rites and meditation. And the other, it is the destruction of false knowledge. Destruction of false, where the undiluted truth is given. This is being told here again and again. That is, I think we can go over these portions. Ihatu samuchitishaya avidvadadi ninda kriyate. Here also avidvad, that andham, he who doesn't know, enters into darkness. What is the purpose of this ninda, of censure? It is being censure. He who works only without doing any upasana, without doing any meditation. He enters into darkness. It is a kind of censure. Why are they being censured? The purpose is to combine it with meditation. Any activity, any rite or ritual, there should be proper thought of the spiritual content behind those actions. Then only you will get the fruit of those rites and rituals. This is the point made here. Tatracha Paryagat Pari Samantat Agat. One page is missing. Okay, so then the main point made is this combination is talked about here. That the subject matter of the Upanishads is over, of correct knowledge, Atma Swarupa. Now how to evolve? How should our understanding evolve? How can we imbibe these truths? It is a step-by-step process as described in the Upanishads. You have to do works. If you are got desires within you, you have to do works. Step by step you have to overcome the pull of the desires. So first you do works, the rites, the physical rites, combining it with meditation. This is what is told here. And the portion is one more paragraph was there which is missing. I will take it in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.